Sean lives in Los Angeles with his pregnant wife, Andrea, and despite how much they love each other, pressure is slowly crushing him. Every day, he wakes up terrified that he will fail as a husband and father. He works security at a school, barely making enough money to survive, while Andrea keeps reassuring him that things will eventually get better. But Sean cannot stop thinking about the future. Every scene quietly hints that this fear is destroying him from the inside long before the real horror even begins. At the hospital, Andrea goes in for an ultrasound. The doctor explains that the pregnancy has some complications and that she needs peace, emotional support, and stability. Sean hears every word like a warning. From that moment, his obsession with protecting his family becomes even stronger. The movie subtly makes you question whether Sean's love is healthy or whether it's slowly turning into paranoia. One night after work, Sean is outside exercising when something impossible happens. Street lights suddenly begin flickering and exploding one by one. Then a strange light appears high in the sky. It moves unnaturally, almost like it's alive. The glow twists through the clouds for several seconds before vanishing completely. Sean están frozen, staring upward. The scene is extremely unsettling because nothing loud or dramatic happens. Yet it feels like the moment his entire life changes forever. The next day, Sean and Andrea attend a gathering at the home of Sean's childhood friend. Sean practically grew up there after losing both of his parents at a young age. His friend's mother, Robin, helped raise him like family. Robin has a sharp personality and constantly asks personal questions, but underneath that, she genuinely cares about Sean. During the party, she brings up his financial struggles and even offers help. Sean refuses because he hates feeling weak. Robin then says something strange. She mentions that Sean's father was brilliant, but always unstable, almost as if something dark followed him through life. The movie quietly plants a theory here that whatever is happening to Sean may not have started with him. It may have started generations earlier. Later, Sean's friend takes him downstairs to the basement where old hunting rifles are stored. They joke around about fatherhood, but then his friend reminds him of something from their childhood. During a camping trip, a deer once became trapped in a fence while everyone else panicked. Sean calmly approached it and somehow freed it without hurting it. His friend says, "You always had this weird calm around scared things. You'll be a great dad." That line becomes important later because the movie constantly asks whether Sean is actually becoming something dangerous or whether he's simply afraid of himself. That same night, Sean gets called to the school because the security system is malfunctioning. He drops Andrea home and heads to work. While checking the rooftop lights, the same blinding glow appears in the sky again. This time it's much closer. Sean suddenly feels weak, almost hypnotized, as though something is pulling him upward. Then everything goes black. For a split second, he sees horrifying images. Giant web-like structures, tubes connected to human heads. His dead father lying beside him. Strange symbols flashing rapidly like coded messages. Then silence. Sean wakes up in a hospital bed with bandages wrapped around his head. Andrea explains that he fell from the rooftop, but somehow survived. The doctors call it a miracle, but Sean looks terrified instead of relieved. Deep down, he knows something happened on that roof that nobody understands. After returning home, subtle changes begin happening to him. Sean suddenly develops artistic talent overnight. Before the accident, he could barely draw, but now his hands create disturbingly detailed sketches filled with strange landscapes, symbols, and creatures. It's as if someone else is guiding his hand. At first, Andrea thinks it's harmless, but then Sean begins hearing voices. Sometimes he reacts to sounds nobody else can hear. Sometimes he stares at empty corners of rooms like someone is standing there. One morning, he watches Andrea leave for work and suddenly sees invisible hands dragging her into darkness. He panics, then the vision disappears instantly. The movie becomes increasingly disturbing because even the audience cannot tell what's real anymore. At the hospital, Sean sees another version of himself sitting across the room. Same face, same clothes, but this version looks exhausted and sick. When Sean blinks, the man disappears. Now the story starts playing with theories. Is Sean experiencing trauma from the head injury? Is he mentally breaking apart? Or did something actually happen during that encounter with the light? Doctors run tests, but medically he appears normal. One doctor suggests the injury may have unlocked unusual brain activity. He explains that rare neurological conditions can increase creativity and sensory awareness after trauma. But even while hearing this explanation, Sean feels the truth is far worse. He becomes convinced something entered his mind that night. At home, Sean keeps drawing the same strange town over and over again. Endless deserts, twisted buildings, symbols that resemble some kind of alien language. The drawings look less like imagination and more like memories. One night, he hears movement inside the house and grabs a kitchen knife. Slowly, he walks through the dark hallway expecting to find an intruder. Instead, he finds a stray dog wandering inside. Scenes like this are important because the movie constantly tricks both Sean and the audience into expecting horror even when nothing dangerous is there. But then things become genuinely frightening. At a party, Sean notices another version of himself staring from across the street. This copy looks emotionless and unnatural. Sean stares in shock, and suddenly his nose starts bleeding heavily. Later, he wakes up scratching his own arm until it bleeds. He stares into the mirror and barely recognizes himself anymore. Eventually, Sean tells Andrea something heartbreaking. He says, "I was supposed to protect you and the baby, but I feel like something inside me is changing." Andrea believes stress and trauma are destroying his mental health, but Sean believes he's becoming connected to another world. That idea grows stronger when the name Esther repeatedly enters his mind for no reason. Sean eventually visits Robin searching for answers. When he asks about Esther, Robin freezes for a moment before revealing it was the town where Sean's father once lived. The second she says the name, Sean suddenly hallucinates Robin transforming into something inhuman. He completely panics and screams that none of them are real. This scene is terrifying because Sean himself doesn't know whether he's seeing monsters or simply losing his mind. As his condition worsens, Sean becomes obsessed with protecting Andrea. He secretly buys a gun because he believes something is coming for them. Andrea is horrified when she discovers it. She begs him to stop spiraling into paranoia before he destroys their family himself. Meanwhile, his drawings become even darker. Alien figures, giant structures, maps leading somewhere unknown. One theory the movie heavily hints at is that Sean may have been abducted during the rooftop incident and partially returned wrong. Another theory is even sadder. Sean inherited severe mental illness from his father, and his trauma is finally consuming him. The movie never gives a clear answer, which makes everything more disturbing. Eventually, Sean drives to the town of Esther after realizing all his drawings match the area perfectly. When he arrives, every location feels painfully familiar, even though he hasn't been there since childhood. He eventually reaches an old house where he sees his father sitting outside alive and smiling. Sean knows this is impossible because his father died years ago. His father calmly tells him, "You'll be a better father than I ever was." Sean breaks down emotionally because for the first time in the movie, he finally feels peace. But then a gunshot echoes in the distance. That same blinding light appears again. Suddenly, Sean is back on the school rooftop where everything began. An unknown man approaches him carrying a notebook filled with names and coordinates. The man cryptically explains that re-entry almost never works and suggests Sean somehow return from somewhere he was never supposed to escape. The movie never explains who this man really is. Government agent? Scientist? Survivor? Hallucination? That mystery makes the ending even creepier. Sean returns home exhausted and emotionally broken. He quietly lies beside Andrea while she sleeps, finally feeling safe again. But then comes the final twist. The bedroom walls are covered in the same horrifying drawings Sean had been creating throughout the movie. Alien symbols, strange landscapes, the town of Esther, and terrifying figures watching from the dark. Sean stares at them in silence. If everything was just hallucinations, then who drew those images on the walls? And if it was real, then maybe whatever found Sean that night never truly left him at all.